You mentioned how going to the ASA or the NIS before, and Salomon like kind of like spotted you or whatever. I kind of only remember you skating Salomons, and I was curious if you skated any other skates. But when Salomon came up to you, was that your first sponsor?
Um, Probably like yeah, the first person to like give me product for free, I think, was them. Someone else might have beat them too, but yeah, like to your point, I was skating Solomons when they
Mm-hmm.
saw me skating,
Oh, okay.
and like I guess the blue ones, the light blue ones, were like the first Solomons. Am I getting that
Yep.
right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, like I had those skates. I skated Solomons from day one, and that's kind of like I don't know. Like I've texted Billy a little bit. Like when I went to the comp down in Miami, I got juiced and like wanted to start skating again, but I was trying skates and I just couldn't get anything that felt right, and no one had the kindness to be like, bro, you haven't skated in 20 years, get it together. Nothing's gonna feel the same. Instead, I'm just like out here bitching.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I have skated different skates, and like the cream razors,
Mm-hmm.
dude, you could torque anything. Like I don't even know how to torque, and the first rail I jumped on, I was like, boop, did it,
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Um, and I always wanted to skate for a different company, but I could never skate anybody else's skates.
Well, it's like interesting that Salomon was that company too, because Salomon is a more corporate brand than every other skate. Or I think every other skate company at the time, at least.
They're a subsidiary of Adidas, bro.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how was that? I
My
mean,
checks said Adidas on them,
that's
and they
pretty crazy.
actually gave me a damn check.
Well,
That's
that's a bonus of
I
skating
wish
for
I
a
had a
corporate.
picture.
You should have saved the
nah.
check.
I just meant a paper check. Like, who gives somebody a paper check? Put it in my account. I mean, that existed back then. Direct deposit, wire the shit. Help.
Yeah.
We got
I'm
paper
trying to
checks
get
back in the day.
paid.
Yeah. Paper checks back then. So funny.
We got paper checks back then.
Well,
And
I think even the fact getting checks from skating is like something that was way more prevalent back then at all.
yeah.
So how did it go from like, how did it start? Like, well, I know your relationship started with Solomon at Mobile, Alabama, but how did it get into the place where you got on the team? Because Solomon team was a pretty prestigious team. Like, you had Vinnie Minton, Aaron Feinberg, Wilfred Rosignol, Shane Scour, the list goes on. And you were part of those ranks. And then, yeah, getting a check pro and eventually getting a skate. So how did that
Two
relationship kind of
skates.
cultivate? Two skates. Oh, that's right. Two skates. I forgot about that.
Uh, I don't even really know how it all happened. I know, like, I was being flowed product, and then I was AM and making just a little bit of money and got a little more product. But I was getting clips, right? So I was like, I'm gonna make a whole section, and they weren't really asking me to make a section. And I guess that was the first Solomon video, and I was still AM then. Um, but after that video, they were like, "Yep, you're gonna be pro and get a skate." And I was like, "Hell yeah, I'm not asking questions." I honestly couldn't tell you. Someone else may know the answer to that, but that's literally how it happened in my mind.
That's sick. So very naturally then, I guess. Like very just, yeah.
Yo, so when I was a super grommet, like when my mom was driving me around to places, I was trying to get sponsored so hard, and Razors was just like, "You're not good enough. You're not good enough. Charles Dunkel is our man in Alabama. Yeah, it's not happening." And I was so bitter, so bitter.
Damn,
That's
they only needed one from Alabama. That's it.
Just one. We've got enough. Okay.
Yeah.
that makes no sense because there were like 20 skaters in New York City on raises at that time. Like everyone
No,
rode
but
raises in New York.
I think there was like a lot of flow, but in terms of like getting on the team, it was just like
Yeah.
Dustin and Mike. And I think Razors felt the same about New York. They were like, all right, we got Dustin and Mike.
Yeah.
That's enough for right now.
Well, and I mean, I'm sure the guys before me had a hand in it. I'm sure they weren't like, "Hey, we're just taking the Sam and doing this with him." Like, maybe they did. Again, they're corporate. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the relationship between Solomon and I did not end on tasteful terms. Like, man, they did not like me. And when Brandon Campbell got on the team, oh, bro, balls to the wall. We thought we were rock stars. Just like, man, when we went to Puerto Rico, oh, that was the best trip. I didn't even skate. I had a torn ACL. They fly me to Puerto Rico. Brandon Campbell and I are there just, I think he might have skated, but we're terrorizing the beach and having fun the entire time.
I feel like Salomon was kind of like known for this thing. Like, you look at like the old Salomon videos of like Aaron and Shane, like, Aaron's like throwing up somewhere and like speaking a language that you really can't understand. I feel like that was kind of like part and parcel of like the Salomon legacy,
You know,
you had shoes to fill. You had big shoes to fill.
I was trying, man. I tried. You know who I wish I knew where he was? Wilfred Rosenell.
Yes.
Wilfred was the baddest dude. I watched him get run over by a car. And
What?
He was fine. He was fine. Just
What?
got up like it was nothing. And he was the nicest, kindest, go out of your way to do anything for you person. Like, I hope he's good, man.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've heard from Wilfred. I hope he's good too.
It kind of seems like it fell off. He had like the best style too. So smooth.
Great style. Yeah. Great skater.
And there's one more thing I wanted to ask about the Salomon thing before we jump off it. Like, did you notice that it was run corporately compared to other brands? Like, you had other sponsors, obviously, later on down the line. Did it come off that way at all? Like, was Salomon like the main thing you had to attend to, or was it just like whatever? It seemed like it was kind of wild.
So, and I want to back up 1 second. Like, the team of Salomon, like, incredible. Like, incredible family. Like, traveling with Vinny, traveling with everyone, just, we had so much fun, and I hope everyone had as much fun as I did, because I know I was a crazy ass, so I hope they had fun too. Definitely, it was definitely corporate, but I don't think I noticed it, because I never had a real job in my life. I mean, my life was rollerblading. That's all I really knew, so I didn't have a lot of sponsors, really. I skated for Denial, and Majet was amazing to me. I love that whole. I actually still rock some Denial stuff now, so
Sick.
I blow up Adam Kilgore and annoy the shit out of him. I'm like, send me whatever you have, I'll send you money. But yeah, and then 4x4. I guess that was all my sponsors, right?
I mean, yeah, I feel like with the boot company, you just had one that you stuck with the whole time until the end. But I was actually going to mention, and I want to kind of get into that too. But you mentioned Denial. I wanted to bring up Denial as well, because like you were like, it was. I feel like when Denial first started, it was kind of like people from the Northeast mainly. Like the Kelsos, Dustin Holler, and Jimmy Shute, and Mike Elias. And then like you were kind of like someone from like out of that region, the tri-state area, that became a part of it. And then it started kind of to grow outside of that, kind of starting with you and you taking trips up to Philly. So I was going to ask, one, how that relationship developed, and then two, like about this, the famous Top Soul clip you did in Philly, like the drop double kink rail that was just like at the time, like eons beyond what people were even imagining to do. Like people were like maybe kind of just starting to get into the drop rail era.
Yeah.
A drop kink was like, I think Jeff Howard was one of the few that was dabbling in this territory, but not many were. And then you were already there, and then you were doing the drop double kink. I just remember how like much of an impact that had on that video and during that time. So I know that's a big question, but if you can kind of get into all that.
Yeah, so let me start with meeting like Majet and that crew. So that I met them at an ASR, and again, really fortunate. Where I grew up in Alabama, I was like an hour away from a skate park called The Wall. That was in Tuscaloosa. Yes, named after the Pink Floyd. collection. But this family was incredible. Like John and Bon are Tammy and Gary's two sons that are twins. They live here in Atlanta, and I've been skating with them. But they took me out to ASR because they own the wall. They were invited to come out to this trade show, and they were like, and I'm 15 or 14 maybe at that time. We went out there twice. But I was out there one time. I don't know if I was there with the wall or with somebody else, but Majet just came up to me and he was like, "Yo, you're really good. You think you want some denial clothes or something?" Same sort of like, "I'll flow you some product." And I was like, "Hell yeah!" And again, it just sort of grew from there. And I mean, he was giving me stuff, so why wouldn't I rep whoever's supporting me? Like, I don't got to go out and buy t-shirts. They had badass sweatpants that they made. Like, yeah, I'm going to rock people who support me. And always had a place to go in Philly. I don't even, one of the first times up to Philly, I guess, we were in Shoota's house. I guess it was, I want to say it was like a frat house. I don't even know. But we were partying.
Yeah,
And this must have been like when I did, the time that I did the drop kink rail. Maybe Charles came up separately. I don't know. I spent a lot of time going to Philadelphia and skating there because, you know, Majet always had a place for me to stay. The Kelsos were there. They would always show me skate spots. I always tried to just travel and skate whenever somebody would say, "Hey, come up here." And if I had a place to go, and I was going, man. And what else was the question? I'm sorry.
Oh no, so
the kink rail.
This drop kink, the night of the kink rail, because that was a pretty epic moment.
I swear they had been talking up this drop kink rail, like, talking it up. And I must have done that rail like a couple hours off the plane because we went there checking it out. You know, I got this. The cops even pulled up at the bottom of the rail. I did it twice. The first time the cops pulled up and like I thought I was going to jail, and they were like, "Nah, you're not going to jail." And I did it again. And it kind of goes back to that, like, I had practiced all this, man. Like,
right.
I have this weird ability. Maybe other people I'm sure other people have it too, but I can actually turn off logic in my brain sometimes and be like, your body knows exactly what to do. So do it. And would I go back and try something like that now? Bro, I will not even drop in on a ramp that has vert. Like, I'm not trying drop rails. I'm out here. I do a soul grind, and I'm like, bro, did you see that?
Yeah.